Good evening, folks. Welcome to beautiful Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, on a perfect night to open the Four Nations Cup here. Our home team tonight is Japan. The visiting team is from Canada. I'm Chris Abbott. I'm joined by Kyle Smith. Kyle, this is going to start what's about to be a 2-week odyssey to determine who will be the best men's fast pitch team in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a way to start it. We see Canada and Japan go toe-to-toe here on a Thursday night in Saskatchewan and Saskatoon. Bob Van Impe, man, look at that grass out there. It just looks fantastic. But a great start. And, yeah, it's going to be a 2-week stretch here for you and I, and we'll be joined by Lance Wynn, but you and I here this week, that we get to sit front and center and witness some of the greatest games being played to date.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about the two teams and how they got to the tournament in Prince Albert, just a little more than an hour up the road here from Saskatoon as we go. But what we're going to do is settle in. The Super 8 Four Nations Cup features 4 teams. Japan and Canada will play this game. USA and New Zealand in the nightcap will play a 3-game round robin for every team. Finish up with the championship on Saturday. Canada is the home team, obviously, for the tournament. They're the host team, but they're the visiting team in tonight's game. Matthew Waugh, the veteran, will lead off in left field. Nick White will play center tonight and bat second. Ty Sebastian, the designated player in the 3-hole. Quentin Bruce is in right. Blake Hunter is doing the catch, and Colin Walsh is at first. Brian Avery will be at third tonight. The veteran, Kevin Schellenberg, is at short, and Devin McCullough, the hometown boy, will get the start on the mound for Canada. Defensively for Japan, and they're always good defensively. From left to right in the outfield, Koki Sato, Sei Kuroiwa, and Tei Hamamoto. Left to right around the infield, third to first, you've got Keito Masaki, Ryuji Okawa, Kotaro Yasumi, and Kazuya Toriyama. Teo Kataoka will do the catching tonight for the starter, Haruki Aikida. And Kyle, one of the things we noticed early, Japan, they're coming with the A squad out of the gate here. Canada mixing and matching the lineups a little bit.
Yeah, definitely you see it. And I think some of that might be, Chris, is just the Japanese aren't in season necessarily. So they're taking a chance here, and they're putting their number one guys out there. Whereas Canada, I mean, you talk about it. We are in the thick of things here for our club season here in Ontario and throughout Canada. And so for these guys, it's now cutting your teeth for some of these kids as they get under in the red and white.
Well, Matthew Waugh, as he's done, I don't know, about a million times before, will lead things off for Canada tonight. And really, Kyle, when you talk about Bob Van Impe Stadium here at the Gordie Howe Sports Complex, this is really one of the premier homes for softball in our country.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what's been hosted, and there is a sign out behind us on the front of the stadium that shows all the tournaments, international, Canadians, provincials that they've hosted. It is a long list of accolades for the host committee here, and this one, another one, the Super 8 International Four Nations Cup about to get underway.
And Aikida will deliver to Matthew Waugh to get things going. It's a rise ball outside for a ball.
Interesting delivery straight off the mound. Not a lot of lift of that foot coming forward. Nice and smooth here by Aikida as he drives forward towards the plate. Big, tall righty on the mound.
It's a curveball back over the outside corner. So working away from Waugh to start. Matthew Waugh can do it to you however you would like. He can hit it over the fence. He can slap it to the left side. He can yank one down the right side. So defensively, Japan playing pretty straight up here. And that's blown away.
Really feeling their way around here to Matthew Waugh. I mean, you talk about Matthew Waugh as a leadoff hitter. How many times have we seen him put one out yonder beyond the home run fence? So aware of that here, that veteran leadership for Matthew Waugh in the leadoff spot as Aikida working around here, nibbling on some corners to see how far they can stretch the strike zone.
A rise ball caught too much of the plate, and that singled right through the right side, and the Canadians have the first batter on base to start the game.
Well, a good at bat there by Matthew. He waits his turn and takes what he's given here. You see that coming in just belt high or a little bit above it, and Matthew gets on top of it and sends it out over into right field. Well done there by Waugh to set the table, as we've seen him do so many times here for Canada over the years. It's Waugh on base and a speedy Nick White here in the 2 spot.
Yeah, Nick White starts in center field tonight. And, we're seeing a little bit of a roster changeover for Canada the last couple of years. He'll try to lay down a bunt, and it will bounce back to the backstop 0-1. And White's part of that new movement. Canada had a lot of the same guys on the roster for a long time. And we're kind of halfway through that changeover now.
Halfway through that changeover, and you're going to see a big change here for the Canadians after this cycle. Upwards of 8 to 9 guys that could possibly be looking at their last tour of duty with the national team here as we work our way through the World Cup. But Nick White, the future for Canada.
Swings at a drop ball off the plate, and he's now down 0-2 against Aikita on the mound for Japan.
Well, he went chasing after that one down and away, well outside, all the way in. Working into the other batter's box is the Japanese team as they try and find their way, but well-placed pitch there and got White chasing.
That's well off on the 0-2. He wouldn't chase that one. Ed Otterman calling the balls and strikes tonight. Terry Richter's at first. Scott McLaren, the second base umpire. Mike Morrissey over at third base. One-two rise ball from Aikita, and White will get just enough to stay alive.
Yeah, you talk about these teams and their international prowess. It's the same for the Blue Crew on the diamond. All umpires WBSC certified, and actually 2 of them will be making their way north up the highway to Prince Albert here later on this week. So a veteran crew here going to call the ball games this week as well.
One-two, White chases again outside and down swinging. And Aikita working away. The only 2 balls that have caught the plate have been singled and fouled, and White comes up empty on this one.
Well, you see here they work well outside, and they got White chasing on the second time there, working down and away. And just not able to get to it, maybe showing a little bit of anxiousness there by Nick White trying to get out and reach that ball. But he's down on strikes here with 1 down in the inning.
And some work to do. The first right-handed batter for Canada tonight will be the designated player, Ty Sebastian. Runner goes, and Waugh is safe in under the tag out at second base.
Well, Matthew got a big jump there, well read off the hand as he easily swipes the base ahead of the throw, and it was a good, accurate throw right on the money to 2. But feet first in there safely.
And I'm not sure that Kataoka could have done much more with that. Maybe the throw a little bit lower. But, we're situated right behind the catcher. He popped up, got away, and a laser throw. But Waugh, throwing his speed, still got something in those legs. Rise ball that didn't rise that much, and Ty Sebastian will foul it away. I think by the look on his face, he would have liked to do more with it, Kyle.
Yeah, he missed that pitch. That was the one that he wanted there, and just couldn't get it squared up. So Sebastian's sitting in a hitting count here. He'll try and get another one, but got to be careful here. Lots of power in the bat here for Sebastian. Your prototypical infielder pitcher combination. And just as good of a hitter as anything as well.
He's been one of the best players for Canada over the last number of years. His star has really risen. It's a rise ball up and out of the zone. And Sebastian here maybe asking about the delivery of Aikita.
Yeah, he kind of mentioned the hand coming out of the glove. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we look dead straight away here.
Strike at the knees. And the count now even at 2s. Watt led off the inning with a single. He's at second after a stolen base. A drop ball, maybe a little off speed, and Sebastian swings over it for the second out of the inning. Second strikeout issued by Hiroki Akita.
Maybe a little off kilter after that strike that he didn't like. You see Ty Sebastian in that crouch stance after he gets 2 strikes against him, goes chasing down and away again. They're working Canada away to the wings, and Canada chasing, can't able to get up to it with a runner in scoring position here. A chance for Quentin Bruce, another one of those young guys starting to make their way in this Canadian roster.
First pitch is outside to Quentin Bruce. That's a low rise ball that catches the corner. Kyle, you saw this Canadian team last year at the qualifier in Prince Albert. Were there any guys, like a guy like Quentin Bruce, for example, who's this cycle is really his turn to step into the limelight? How do you think the guys that are getting that new experience at the international level are handling it?
Funny, Quentin not with the team last year in that cycle, but you look at him on the club scene, I mean, he is fitting right in with those teams. I mean, he is one of the best players going on multiple weekends. So Quentin fitting in, and as this goes, he is one of those guys that we talk about, just making his way into the upper echelon, and he's fitting in. He fills that niche. He's going to slide into the outfield and fill those roles admirably and take over after we see a bunch of guys step out.
That pitch is off the plate. Yeah, some of the veteran guys not in the starting lineup for Canada tonight. They're planning to use everyone. This is a warm-up tournament, but you look down, you see Brad Ezekiel and Shane Boland, both guys on the bench that not used to seeing that over
we
the
won't
last
see that next
10,
week.
12 years for the national team.
And I think that the purpose of this weekend is you need to get guys ready. And I think you're going to see guys kind of play around the diamond as Quentin Bruce draws that walk, Chris. But I think you're going to see guys get moved around the diamond so that they get some reps at different positions, so that, say anything should happen injury-wise, because we've seen it time and time again, they're able to step into that spot and say, hey, I took a couple reps here this week or against this competition. So I think you're going to see guys move around in and out of the lineup. Everybody's going to get swings. Everybody's going to get pitching time. But I think it's a good mix of veteran and some rookies cutting their teeth, as we said off the top, that we're going to see here this weekend.
Yeah, well, we just finished talking about some young guys at the top of the order, and now here's a veteran in Blake Hunter who will be catching tonight for Canada. You talk about guys that can play all over the field. Hunter is one of them. First pitch is a strike low in the zone.
Yeah, last year, you saw him and Brian Avery platooning the catcher third baseman position at the qualifier last year. Last weekend, you see him playing first base for Hill United. Tonight, he's behind the plate for Canada, right? So the versatility of these guys in this lineup, that gives your coaching staff a lot more options, right? If your bat's hot, it's going to force its way into the lineup. How do you find a position for a guy to play if he only plays one? If you play three, it's easier to keep you in that lineup, right? Because you always want the hot bats in the lineup. It's how do I figure the puzzle out?
Hiroki Akita trying to figure out the puzzle that has become the top of this first inning. The last pitch, he yanked it well outside. But he'll get Hunter to chase on the rise ball, now on ahead 1-2.
Well, I'm interested to see from Japan here this weekend, what is it? How does it flow, right? We haven't seen the lead up. Yes, there's guys over in the North American club season, but a lot of guys coming over, just getting over. How do they adjust to the time change? How do they gel as a team, working out? I know you mentioned to me off air before we came on, it's a very similar team that you saw in Oklahoma City at the qualifier, but it's now coming together before the big week coming up next week.
Yeah, and there's some names that we've seen with Japan over the years that, again, are not there. And we'll see. We can say that about every team.
For sure.
Guys get older. Guys don't play with the national team program anymore. But this Japanese team was certainly stellar. They came runner-up to the United States in the qualifier in Oklahoma. 2-2, strike three called on a drop ball at the knees. Hunter thinks it's down, voices his displeasure. Doesn't matter. Japan will get out of it. Hiroki Akita will strike out the side and work around a couple of base runners here in the top of the first.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon. Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club.
All right, welcome back here to Bob Van Impe Stadium in Saskatoon as we head to the bottom of the first inning. The order for Japan, Tei Hamamoto will lead things off. Yusuke Morita will bat second. Taiyo Kataoka will bat third. Kaito Masaki, the third baseman, is in the cleanup spot. Kazuya Toriyama is batting fifth. Kotaro Yasumi, the second baseman, will bat sixth. Koki Sato in left field is batting seventh. Sei Kuroiwa is batting eighth. And Ryuji Okawa, the shortstop, is batting ninth. Defensively for the Canadians, Matthew Waugh, Nick White, and Quentin Bruce left to right in the outfield. Brian Avery's at third. Kevin Schellenberg is at shortstop. Max Major, who is probably about half the age of Kevin Schellenberg, will play second base. Colin Walsh at first. And the aforementioned Blake Hunter will catch for Devin McCullough, who we believe, Kyle, is making his first appearance on the mound here in this stadium in 10 years in what was a magical afternoon here in Saskatoon. Yeah,
very, very much so in the forefront as you think about that. But it's a svelte Devin McCullough. You look out there at Devin has trimmed down here in his preparation to get back on the national team. And from all accounts and watching him so far this summer, this young man is throwing the lights out.
And he will get the start here at home. A low rise ball just outside to Hamamoto.
That had a nice little twist at the end as it came in, and Hunter held that one for a little bit more on that outside corner.
Hamamoto is your prototypical leadoff hitter. Lots of speed. He's not going to be fast enough to beat this one to first base as Colin Walsh will retire him on the ground out.
Yeah, nice play there by Colin to get it on the line just before it crosses foul. But for Japan, see a couple pitches, see what McCullough's throwing, and then you see that relay of information from batters and teammates prior to coming up.
The designated player, Yusuke Morita, and the first thing you'll notice about Morita, if you haven't seen him before, is his batting stance. Affectionately dubbed the praying mantis approach at the plate.
You're definitely not teaching this hitting style. I mean, I don't think I could get down in that crouch to imitate it even.
And if you could get down there, you're certainly not getting back up.
Yeah, exactly. You're going down in a heap.
But he's a phenomenal hitter.
Absolutely.
We talked about Brad Esgel in that way as well, right? You wouldn't teach people to hit like that, but however he's taught himself to pitch is that McCullough changeup that he's made ever so famous. Gets in ahead 1-2.
When you talk about Morita, it's nice to see him on the North American circuit playing on the regular basis now. But he is an all-world player for sure.
Yeah, spark plug for this Japanese team last year in Oklahoma City in the qualifying stage, in the group stage. And if Japan is to have success over the next week and a half, he will have to be a big part of it.
Yeah, most definitely. And also it's Toriyama who needs to bring the bat and the stick and the power as well. But yeah, it starts and ends with Morita at the plate.
And his at-bat will end right there as he chases a rise ball out of the zone from Devin McCullough. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the first.
Good tight spin from McCullough as that ball goes straight up the elevator. And swinging underneath of it is Morita. He's down on strikes, and a quick 1-2 strike here for McCullough in Canada as they made a little bit of noise in the top of the first, but yet to push a run across.
Catcher Taiyo Kataoka tries to sneak a bunt down towards Brian Avery, but it goes foul.
Of recent memory, Chris, you go back and you look at these teams, and Japan, who was notoriously known for small ball, had kind of got away from it, but you're seeing it start to make its way back through here and start to become more prevalent in their at-bats, is putting that ball down and playing small ball and using the speed in their batting order.
1-1 changeup from McCullough is off the plate. The wind is blowing left to right, a little bit toward home run versus across. As Kataoka will swing through and the count evens up. And that wasn't the best definition of the wind path, but we'll say it's blowing out from third base.
There we go.
And Kataoka will chase up and away, and he did not look comfortable on that Devin McCullough rise ball at all. So McCullough, as advertised by Kyle Smith, looking very good here in the first inning. We've played one inning here at the Super 8 Four Nations Cup, and there's no score. We go to the bottom of the top of the second. Colin Walsh, Brian Avery, Max Major due up for Canada. Evening coming out of a long weekend. And there's a big baseball game not far from here, Kyle. The local team, 23-game win streak they're riding or something?
15-game home win streak.
And they've got 23-2 on the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just beyond the center field fence there. The Berries. Colin Walsh leading things off for Canada, playing first base tonight.
When they win, do you think they play How Sweet It Is?
I don't know. I would. I haven't thought about it, and I'm not quick enough to come back with an answer, but that's not bad. Colin Walsh made his WBSC World Cup debut with the team back in Whitehorse in 2017. Seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. You think about some of these Canadian players, and we relate to the Canadian guys being Canadian, but after watching them for so long and seeing them all the time, it's like they were babies at one point, right? And like they're just cutting their teeth, and now they've been with the team for, 3-4 cycles all of a sudden.
Two count on Colin Walsh. And he'll chase off the plate for strike three, the fourth strikeout of the evening for Hiroki Aikita.
Both pitchers seem to have the advantage in the early going, Chris. and Aikita stark contrast working away from the hitters where McCullough's going up that elevator. And I talked to you, it's an interesting delivery on Aikita watching him come off the mound. It's not necessarily toe down, it's like floating across the ground almost as he pushes from the mound. Definitely not that traditional leap we see in men's softball.
Brian Avery will hold up on a first pitch rise ball that he identified before pulling the trigger.
And Chris, over at the WBSC U15 Girls World Cup, Japan is headed to the finals after defeating USA in a battle of unbeatens.
Well, Kyle, you and I both worked on the U15 group stages last year as well, and I can tell you that the fact that that U.S. team even came close to losing a game
right
is wild to me. They're so good.
They are what people like to call wagons.
I remember at the Pan Ams a couple of months ago, it was being played in Mexico. They had a scare for 1/2 inning, and then they came out and put about 6 up on the board and got out of there. But I mean, it's no surprise the premium that's placed on the women's game in the United States. Of course, we've got the U18 Women's World Cup coming up in Oklahoma City at the end of September. I'm sure there'll be a college or two in attendance of that one. The 2-2 on Avery is popped up on the infield. Okawa will call for it and make the play. 2 down.
Got to it, but just couldn't square it up as it went sky high. And here is a brand new national team member getting his first game in red and white on the senior team. Max Major, a local kid here to Saskatoon.
Well, and good on the Canadian coaching staff for getting the local guys in here tonight. First pitch rise ball is a ball.
So it's interesting, Chris, when you watch Kataoda behind the plate, how far he gets outside, but yet that ball bleeding back towards the plate. So interesting to know if that's a miss by the pitcher or if that's the intention of, getting way outside but working that ball back to the plate.
That one splits him in two, and he gets it on the block for strike 2.
So the scouting report early here for Japan is working away to these hitters, not really getting inside very much.
And Major's going to send this one towards short, but kind of off the end of the bat, and Ryuji Okawa will step to his left and make his second play of the innings.
But I like the job there by Major. He stays back, gets the end of the bat, like you said, Chris, just an inch away on the bat to getting his first base hit. But a nice start there for the youngster as he gets his first AB in a Canada uniform on the senior side. But it's a line drive out as we head to the bottom of 2 here in Saskatoon.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't
And we're just back here. First pitch was a swinging strike. Kato Masaki, the third baseman, batting cleanup for Japan. Wow. That had some movement in about 6 different directions from McCullough.
Yeah, the early going, the ball is moving, especially in the heat. I mean, looking at the thermometer as we came across in the rental here this afternoon, it was about 31 Celsius. So the ball's going to jump here in the heat. Easy to get loose. So Devin is in a good lather, and that ball's spinning for him.
Change up, just up. Still the best change up in the game.
And the thing about it is, and if you're a young pitcher watching at home, it's the arm action that he has, it's the body movement that he has. It's all the same until that ball comes out of his hand.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. And Masaki doesn't like that. I'm not sure if Ed Otterman and Masaki speak the same language.
Working to the outside corner as that one catches a piece, and down goes Masaki. It's 3 strikeouts here to start, Chris, for Devin McCullough.
Well, that brings in the first baseman, Kazuya Toriyama, who is generally found with a large smile on his face. This guy embodies the spirit of the game.
Straight up in the outfield on Toriyama.
Fooled completely, and the look on Toriyama's face as he turned around said as much.
I think that's a sign of, I probably should have got that one.
And he gets him out front again, and all Toriyama can do is smile and jog back to the dugout. And Devin McCullough has struck out 4 in a row.
Everything working, that changeup, the rise ball, working to the outside corner, and he's just picking spots right now, Chris, and right now he is off and running ahead of this Japanese team.
So with 2 down, Kotaro Yasumi, the second baseman,
And
will step in.
for good measure, throwing a little tight curve, coming back around on the back door.
And he saved some for later, Devin. He's looking good. And he's out 0-2 against Yasumi.
But you know what? We talked about it, and I talked about it on an interview with Outside the Shoot here today with Randy and Chris, that, you know, it's going to be pitching by committee, right? So you talk about leaving it for later. I don't think there's going to be much later for the Canadian pitching staff here this week, unless they're absolutely dicing. That I think, honestly, it's going to be pitched by committee. You get like 2 times through the order, and then we're going to somebody else. It's like going to be 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a lot of changing motion, and it's going to be different looks for Team Canada this week.
Yasumi stays alive by pounding that one into the dirt.
And, you know, and when you think about it, the interesting part to that is you don't have to leave everything in the tank, right? You just empty it out because you know you're going 3 innings,
Yep.
right? So you pace yourself over those 3 rather than, well, now I got to get to 7, right? So it makes it easier, and you can go guns a-blazing. And right now, I mean, Devin McCullough is doing just that.
Strike 3 called. McCullough strikes out the side. 5 in a row for the right-hander from Saskatchewan. And Canada, Japan will head to the 3rd inning. No score. So it'll be 9-1-2 for Canada here in the third. Kevin Schellenberg will lead things off, followed by Matthew Roy and Nick White.
You might hear a herd of buffalo come storming through the broadcast a couple times here this weekend. We are located below the metal stands here in Bob Van Impen. When people go running around, boy, does it rattle your brain.
Aikita with a low rise ball for a strike.
Here's a guy for Canada that, conversely to Nick White, conversely to Max Major, here's a guy coming back into the Canadian national team as a veteran presence for the squad.
Born in 1980, Kevin Schellenberg. I mean, he's older than I am, and I sure as heck could not get out there right now and play. But, I mean, you know, Kevin's been around this team and this sport for such a long time. His defense has always been impeccable. He's never been a guy that tear the cover off the ball, but he'll give you a good at-bat. And, yeah, just the leadership that he brings, the experience he brings, has got to be great for guys like Nick White and Max Major.
For sure. Watch him go about his business. The other thing is late-inning defensive replacement. Who doesn't want a guy like Schellenberg coming off the bench?
It's a drop ball in the outside corner, called strike 3. And, Kyle, you saw there Aikita looked up to the skies after he got the strikeout. And I think what you were asking about last inning, he's missing his spots, and he's not happy about it.
Yeah, that's a miss because you see Kanaoka come to the inside and reach back across the body, and he's working through it. In between the one inning, the pitching coach was out with him looking from the mound towards home plate, so I don't know if he's not comfortable on the pitcher's mound out there, but I can tell you the work that the grounds crew put in when we were here earlier today, they had out the leveling box out on the diamond and smoothing things out. So nice tried and true mounds here in Bob Van Imp.
First pitch swinging is foul back.
And again, working outside but comes down the middle there again here from Aikita.
So the only guy with a hit in this game on either side. A leadoff single in the top of the first. Made it as far as second on the stolen base, was stranded. And a rise ball outside. I think Aikita was happier with that spot.
As natural leadoff hitter Matthew Waugh is, it's just like peanut butter and jelly on a sandwich. They go hand in hand together. I mean, you can just automatically write Matty Waugh in the one spot for Team Canada and for really a lot of teams that he's played for over the years.
Drop ball outside. Kyle, our friends watching on Softball Premier TV, say a special hello to everyone. We've got some nice numbers for a warm-up tournament opener. And Julio Gamarchi. We don't have Argentina here this week.
We do not.
But he's watching as well. And, I mean, the team that he started with has gone so far, and they're going to be so dangerous. They've got to be the favorite. They're not, they've got to be the favorite. They didn't win the last version, but they've got to be the favorite.
I mean, to me, they are the odds-on betting favorite as we go into next week for sure. Just when you take the events that we saw last year, right, over the course of the 3 tournaments and how things played out, they were the most dominant team that we saw all last summer in qualifying. And have no mistake, like, it's the hitting, it's the pitching, it's top to bottom defense, everything they do, they just do it so well, and they're a well-oiled machine, and they've experienced so much wins over the years from junior up through to this senior team. And there's 12 players on the team this year that won in 19. So talk about a veteran team coming into Prince Albert next week. That is Argentina.
The other thing about the Argentinian squad is, we talk a little bit about the youth and the veteran and all this. This is grounded up the middle, and Matty Waugh is 2 for 2. And to finish that thought, and ages and everything, obviously, but the guys from Argentina just in that prime age. That's a great piece of hitting by Matthew Waugh.
I mean, you've seen it before with Matty Waugh, right? Just stays within himself. It's a short, compact swing, drives it into the ground, and it bounces out to the outfield, and a base hit for Matt sets the table again here for Nick White. So now see what they can do this time as opposed to in the first inning.
Nick White went down swinging in his first at-bat. He tried a sac bunt. That was with nobody out. There is now one out. You expect he'll be swinging away. No, he shows bunt and then has the bail out as a rise ball came high and tight for Mikita.
Had my first chance to see Nick in person play last year at the qualifier in Prince Albert, and he showed out well, and you can see why at such a young age he's gotten to where he is. And, man, you want to talk about speed, he's got it and then some.
Shows bunt, starts running, tried to lay it down, but wasn't really close.
I think in that situation, it's more that stabbing motion that you saw. You'd like to clean that up a little bit. Get through it as he's falling away from the plate.
Now committing a little earlier. High and tight, pulls it back. Kataoka asks for a check down at third where Mike Morrissey says Nick White held up. Well, you know, you talked about our guys out in Nova Scotia earlier, Chris Hopewell, Randy Frame, and the Outside the Shoot podcast. And you would ask for a plug, pal, so there it is. Chris, Randy, hello. Hope the Shooters League is going well. Off and running on the pitch. White will swing and foul it away.
Actually, stay tuned. There is a WBSC World Cup preview show dropping hot off the press on Monday for everyone on the podcast scene. Blair Setford, myself, joined Randy and Chris here earlier this afternoon. Talked all things World Cup. They've done such a great job with that podcast in a 3-year turnaround. I guess 5, actually, really. 2020 that started, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much time and space lost during the pandemic. But yeah, the guys do a great job, and they cover the sport from all sides. It's really fantastic. 3-2 count on Nick White. Waz the runner at first. Will he be off on the pitch again? He's not, and White will swing through and strike out for the second time.
Strikeouts littering the scorebook, but you see this one come in right down the middle again. You have to think that's a miss, but just able to get it past Nick White. And Ty Sebastian now coming to the plate. The interesting thing for Japan, Chris, as I watch them this weekend, is seeing how you think they're going to play into it, right? Because the unknown, you don't see a lot of it. But you want to talk about a team that was so dominant in years, playing at the top of the table, have kind of had a downward spiral in the last couple cycles. So they look to get back into the super round. They played in the placement round in 22. Definitely probably didn't like that. So they will want to atone for that. And boy, an 18 tournament where losses are going to burn you.
The first pitch to Sebastian was a drop ball that again missed its spot. Waugh running, the throw is way off target. And Matthew Waugh has his second stolen base of the night, and a veteran move from Ryuji Okawa, who faked that the throw went into the outfield. We'll see if we get it on the replay.
Well outside, a good pitch to throw on, and that one just sailed on Kataoka. And Matthew staying put at second, so showing a little aggressiveness here on the bases, Chris, in the early going is Team Canada. Jeff Ellsworth down in the third base coach's box. Les Howie over at first. Want to send a quick get well to Mark Quinn, who was as an assistant coach, but Mark has had some medical issues of recent and is on the road to recovery, and wish Mark all the best in that. And we're thinking about you, pal. You'll be missed here with the national team.
1-2 count now on Ty Sebastian. And Sebastian's going to rip this through the left side. Coming up, throwing is Sato. Waugh gets the stop sign, and he'll rightfully bail back to third base.
Well-placed base hit and a heads-up play by the left fielder coming up, throwing. Maybe a little bit of a late stop sign. Matthew Waugh was in overdrive coming around, and a quarter of the way down the line, Jeff Ellsworth puts that stop sign up. And I think wise to put it up, as a good accurate throw from out in left field by Sato would have cut Matt down at the plate.
Yeah, normally on a ball hit that hard to the outfield, you don't see the outfielder pick it up as cleanly and get such a perfect throw away. And he was playing in, honestly, kind of tight for the power hitting Sebastian from the right side. But regardless, it's first and third for Canada. Quentin Bruce with an opportunity for the second time to drive in a run. He walked in his first plate appearance.
What do you do here? Runners on the corner, 2 down. Cause a little commotion.
Warm-up tournament, key player on first. He's staying right where he is as far as I'm concerned. You got your number 4 guy at the plate. Jeff Ellsworth still got some hands over there in the third base coach's box. He's another guy that would have made that throw from left field there. Check swing called strike on a 74-mile-an-hour drop ball. So Aikita, who has been struggling a little bit with his location, with 2 outs here in the third, looking to get out of another runners in scoring position situation. Works low outside to Bruce again, and again, Kyle, we see Kataoka having to reach back across his body.
Doing a good job keeping that ball in front. Moves so well behind the plate, this Kataoka.
Rise ball, Bruce gets under it, sends it high and deep, and this one ain't coming back. 3-0 Canada on a home run that clears the second fence in the outfield. Tai Hamamoto took a quick look over his shoulder and watched it fly.
Nice piece of hitting there by Bruce. Got under it and drove it, long swing through it. And like you said, Chris, he cleared that second fence. It was high and deep right off the bat. You knew where it was going.
So that second fence is about 10 to 12 feet high, about 300 feet away. We don't have StatCast, but I can tell you that was a bomb.
That was home run in 100% of softball ballparks.
First pitch to Blake Hunter, hitting with a 3-0 lead. Is low and outside for a ball.
Well, here's another guy that doesn't get cheated on his swings, and he will be quick to put it out.
Blake Hunter struck out to end the first inning. And he will flare one out to short, taken on the fly by Okawa to retire the side. But the damage is done. A 3-run home run off the bat of Quentin Bruce has Canada out 3-0 as we head to the top of the 4th inning here in Saskatoon at the Super 8 Four Nations Cup. Back here for the bottom of the third inning, not the top of the fourth. And it will be the 7-8-9 hitters for Japan, Sato, Kuroiwa, and Okawa. And Kyle, on the PA announcement, you just heard that you're returning a foul ball or a home run. You get $1 here.
All right, I'm out of here.
I was going to say, like, I could get some exercise and make
Claudio,
some cash.
you're in here.
Wow.
I'm going hunting.
Wow. Take that right to the beer garden. Sounds like we got a little scam here.
One of the great sponsors of the event, the Great Western Brewing Company, would gladly appreciate your couple dollars a ball that you're going to collect here today. So, of course, all these activities don't happen without sponsors. The Great Western Brewing Company, Rawlings Canada, Softball Canada, Discover Saskatoon, and, of course, the title sponsor and where we're staying.
Don't give it away.
Super 8 Hotel by Wyndham on Circle Drive.
All I need is Greg Leather coming knocking on my door here.
I don't think you have to worry about that. He's down in hot Florida. It's Chris's birthday. I believe they were at Disney today.
A whole new world. Well, get back. It's almost time for the fireworks, Greg.
There you go, bringing up that Disney song I was singing earlier.
I singled him out because I knew he was watching. One and two count. McCullough, rise ball, jumps way out of the zone. Sato is nowhere close to it. And Kyle, Devin McCullough, after getting a ground out to start the game, has struck out the next 6 batters in the Japanese order.
And look good doing it, too. And I'm talking on these swings and misses, they aren't close to them either. Like, it's not just a miss, it's a miss by a bit on those swings.
Tight rise ball that stayed in the zone but came in on Kuroiwa for strike 1. He's spinning the ball all around the zone, changing his speeds. Without getting too far ahead of ourselves, Devin McCullough looks like he could be an X factor for Canada here this week.
For sure. I mean, you want to talk about this Canadian pitching staff and how they've started their club seasons. Everyone has had times where they're throwing the ball lights out, and right now Devin McCullough has got back into the Team Canada jersey, and here's another guy back in the fold for Canada after a couple years out of the national team cycle.
And he's not going to let this opportunity pass him by. Again, that unmistakable delivery from Devin McCullough, this time a rise ball for his 7th consecutive strikeout. The number 9 batter, the shortstop, Ryuji Okawa, looking to break that streak up. And it's not like he's pitching against a bunch of nobodies. This is a Japanese team. It's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it. Japan looking to get back into the conversation as one of those teams to beat in the men's game.
Low rise ball for a strike for McCullough. That one hadn't moved as much as previous pitches, but you can't be perfect all the time. And another swing and a miss. We don't have StatCast, we don't have the advanced stats, but the whiff rate looking pretty good for Devin McCullough right now.
Be interesting to see the StatCast and the Rapsodo
Oh,
depth.
What a beautiful pitch, a curveball on the outside corner, and Okawa goes down swinging. One time through the order, Devin McCullough has struck out 8. And he and his Canadian teammates after 3 with a 3-run lead here in Saskatoon. 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for Canada. Colin Walsh, Brian Avery, Max Major. Walsh struck out his first time up. Wondering if we'll see Colin Walsh do any pitching for Canada, either in the pre-tournament or in the main tournament, the World Cup.
I'd say you have better odds in the pre-tournament than you do in the main tournament next week.
Left-handed option for the Canadians.
I think depending on Saturday's situation and what does it mean, are you in the 1-2 game, 3-4 game here at the pre-tournament?
Yeah.
Maybe save an arm because you're playing 2 games Saturday, right? You finish round robin in the morning and then come back in the afternoon. So you may just see that. However, Canada 4 pitchers deep, so lots of arms.
Walsh chases now down 0-2. Shota Onodera has been throwing continuously down the left field line for Japan as Aikido works his 4th inning. Onodera spent a lot of time on the mound last year in the qualifying event. Rise ball up and away. Ties him up inside. Second strikeout of the evening for Colin Walsh. He's down swinging again.
There's a good pitch and a rare one that comes inside, gets in underneath the hands and drops away, working into the right-handed hitter. Really nice pitch execution there by Kita.
And that dropped a ton.
Yeah.
Like more than usual. So I'll bring up Brian Avery. Avery hit a soft high pop-up to short, and Aikita takes a little off. Avery put a little more on it, and the result was strike 1.
Brian Avery's a guy for Canada that just so underrated for what he brings to the team and his hitting ability, multiple positions.
Hard ground ball, and the throw from Okawa will pull Toriyama off the bag.
A rare error by Japan. Hard hit, had to play it on his up in the air on the bounce, and that throw just sailed right out of the hand, Chris. As you see, a great shot there looking across the diamond.
And that ball came off the bat at a high rate of velocity. So Max Major gets his second at bat. He'll show bunt and take strike 1 on a nice pitch on the outside corner from Aikido.
Sweeping that one in. Almost second time through. Here is Max Major, like you said, Chris, but at a good first plate appearance.
Chases the rise ball. Major, we're told, lots of friends and family in attendance from nearby Delisle. I mean, his heart's got to be pounding just a little bit more up here tonight, even though it's a pre-tournament. I don't think that matters.
First time on the senior team on your home diamond, basically. I'm sure for these guys out here in Saskatoon, this is like where legends are made of.
Right.
At Bob Van Impe Stadium, right? Like the lore would be, right? Like it's your Yankee Stadium, right? In softball for these guys out here.
Foul tip, and that didn't get a piece of Ed Otterman. That got all of them. Quick smile, though. Everything was good. Went right off the shin pad. He's got those Craig Ludwig-esque shin pads on him. Again, Major fights it off to stay alive.
Game plan, stay down and away, down and away. This game 1 of 2 tonight, Chris. We'll see New Zealand take on Team USA. Slated for, I believe, an 8:15 start time locally.
Yeah, it's about 80 minutes from now.
For our friends in the East, in Ontario, you're 2 hours behind us. As we were talking beforehand, there was lots of people on wondering where the game was, thinking we were late, but lots of people forgot that we are 2 hours behind the East in Ontario, and even more so for our friends out in the Maritimes.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of late nights in Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland. Major's going to send this high and deep to left center field, tracking back toward the fence, and making the grab is Kuroiwa.
Max Major didn't miss that by much, Chris. He barreled that ball up, just missed it. In 2 plate appearances, I really like the approach from Max Major on there, just taking what he's given, putting the ball in play, and was just a mere few feet from a round tripper.
So with 2 down and Avery the runner at first, Kevin Schellenberg will step in for the second time. He went down looking in the third. And he'll take low ball 1.
So we've played 3 innings. What's your takeaway so far from Japan as we look and trying to figure out as we game plan for next week?
Small sample size. There haven't been a whole lot of balls in play. I already know their defense is generally, easy for me to say, solid. Okawa with an error that he won't usually make, but that's why you play these warm-up tournaments. I would say that Hiroki Aikita is still finding his way on the mound, battling through, and we've yet to see their bats come alive, but a large part of that has been the performance of Devin McCullough. But that's exactly why you play these tournaments,
For
Kyle.
sure.
You know, you and I were chatting about it on the drive over today as Schellenberg hits one to Toriyama at first. Tough play, covering, and there's the defense of Japan I was telling you about. Toriyama plays that one in the sun, Kyle, and Yasumi covering to make the out.
For the first baseman, right left hand coming down the line, turn, jump throw. Wow, look at that from the big man at first base. But a nice play there, right? Come down, charge that ball, get it, plant your foot, and turn and fire. So a really nice play there to end the inning.
Shadows creeping across the infield. He was looking right into the sun. Great play by Toriyama to get his team back on the bats. And it'll be the top of the order coming up for Japan when we come back. Sei Hamamoto, the only guy in the lineup for Japan not to strike out tonight. Takes a first pitch changeup from Devin McCullough at 48 miles per hour. He could throw that in the school zone. And follows it up with a 74-mile-an-hour rise ball, Kyle. So almost 30 miles per hour in the difference. And if the Japanese hitters look off balance, that's a good reason why.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of spread between the change and the hard stuff.
Hamamoto will foul it back. Now down 1-2. And to finish my thoughts, you asked me about what I think about Japan. The biggest thing is I think it's great that they're in this tournament.
Yeah.
Because if you show up in Prince Albert on Tuesday and the first time through the order you're slow, your tournament, and this is not hyperbole, could be over. It's such a short event 3 round robin games to get you into the super round. And if you lose your first one, boy, are you in trouble.
Well, it's that, but and the other thing is it's 2 teams from the pools that get to go to the super round, right? It's such a limited amount of teams that move into that next stage in the tournament that you cannot take a game off. You cannot have a bad inning. You cannot have, a slow start to try and dig yourself out of.
So that's the beauty. You may ask yourselves, why are these teams going to put themselves through a weekend where they'll play 4 or 5 games here in Saskatoon before going to that? And that's exactly why. You've got to be firing on all cylinders or as close to that as possible when play starts Tuesday.
Well, and you look at the other teams, right? New Zealand playing a full cycle of games prior to this event. They played in Ontario in the Holman tournament. They played in Hickson, my hometown, against the Dominican Republic. They stacked their schedule in preparation for this and build now and then up.
You know that thing I said about Hamamoto being the only player not to strike out in the roster? Scratch that. 9 strikeouts in a row for Devin McCullough.
Just not fair, right? Just buckled him, off balance, bat out of the hand. You talked about it, Chris, how these batters are off balance. And we talked about how, that's why. Prime example. Then he comes back with the hard stuff right by you before you know it.
And Morita ripped at that pitch, came up empty for strike 1. So, Kyle, this time through the order for Japan, I won't tell anybody what they did last time up. They all struck out. Which is wild because it's a good hitting lineup.
Well, they're always so disciplined at the plate too, right? And we talked about it when it happened, but they're not close on those swings either. Like, they are swings and misses by a couple inches, not just a fraction of an inch. And don't kid yourself. These Canadian pitchers this weekend, they're posturing for a starting spot. They're posturing for the ball in the big game as we get closer to first pitch on Tuesday against the vaunted and, probably one of the biggest rivalries Canada has in New Zealand. Who wants the ball on Tuesday night under the lights?
Ripped to first, and Colin Walsh will snag it for the second out of the inning.
Nice of Devo to let the defense get involved on a hot shot down the first base line. And a nice play there, Colin reaching across the body to make that catch.
And Kyle, anyone who's played the sport knows that, it's a sport dominated by the pitching. And sometimes when your pitcher's in a groove like that, you can get a little sleepy out there on the field. So for Colin, again, the sun is beaming in on him at first base, same as it was for Toriyama last inning. You can see the shadows creeping across. Well, they're coming from the third base side. That's where the sun is right now. And that's a tough play if it's not sun right in your eyes. And, you've got Morita hammering a rise ball in your direction. That's some good defense.
Well, and, it had been 9 batters since the defense had done anything, too, right? Yeah. Now, granted, McCullough is working at a quicker pace, so it's keeping your team engaged that way. But, after standing around for 9 batters and you get a hot shot like that.
Kataoka, for the second time, chases wildly at a rise ball and is down swinging for strike 3. And if you're a team scouting Japan, you may want to take note. So, that's it. In the bottom of the 4th, we've played 4 complete. Canada, Devin McCullough up 3-0.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
So after 2 trips through the Canadian order, Hiroki Aikita will depart, and Shota Onodera will take over on the mound for Japan. Onodera has been around the squad for a while and logged a lot of innings for Japan in Oklahoma City in the group stage. And we'll see if he has the same issues as Aikita on the mound here. It can't be anything wrong with the mound, though, because Devin McCullough on the other side is throwing the lights out here in Saskatoon. So it'll be Matthew Waugh, Nick White, Ty Sebastian, the 1, 2, 3 batters in the order due up for Canada here in the top of the 5th as we're cruising right along. And I might have just put the hex on there.
There goes the anchor.
1 hour and 7 minutes to play the first 4 innings. And yes, Kyle, I recognize what I've done.
All right. As long as we are in agreement.
I will feel shame. I will pay the fine. First round in the Bear Garden is on me. Speaking of Great Western Brewing Company, by the way, any event I've ever been at in Saskatchewan, softball, I was at the curling trials out here, anything I've ever done, they're a huge corporate partner. And hats off to the folks at Great Western Brewing because, you know, let's just say some of their bigger national competitors spend a lot of money in other provinces, but it's great to see Great Western Brewing Company.
Yeah, you know, you talk about longtime supporters and of softball Sask, Brian Kosorowski and company we talked about how many tournaments they have hosted, and they've got lifelong relationships with their sponsors. You know, you look at who are they involved with, and it's always the same people stepping to the plate, whether it's Super 8, like there's the host title presenting sponsor, Super 8 on Circle Drive. They've done it this is the 6th international event sponsorship here in Saskatoon. So it's partnerships like that help breed the success of the softball group here in Saskatoon.
Ball too low on Matthew Waugh. 3, check that. Chopped off the plate. Waugh, who's already 2 for 2, is retired on a very nice play by Ryoji Okawa coming across the middle of the diamond, and he got that away in a hurry.
No option but to get it out of the way hurry, especially on the deadened ball at the plate. Cuts across, played it neatly out of the glove. That throw again sailing a little bit, Chris. Nice play there by Toriyama to keep that ball within an arm's length. But a quick transfer on that play by Okada.
Oh, yeah. Smooth as silk. So with 2 down, Nick White steps in. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Those both came against the starter, Hiroki Aikita. So we'll get his first look at Shota Onodera tonight. Japan and Canada will be in different groups in Prince Albert. Canada will be in a group with New Zealand, Venezuela, and Argentina, while Japan will play in a group with the United States, Australia, and Dominican Republic. Pick your poison there. I mean, you're in a group stage against Marco Diaz and Jack Besgrove, and Giancarlos Gonzalez, who was the MVP of the group stage in Mexico last year.
Yeah, right. It doesn't get any easier after you face Devin McCullough to go to the World Cup next year, let alone now. This week, you're going to face Pitarona here at this tournament. You're going to face Marco Diaz. So the other thing about these pre-tournaments, of course, it gives you a chance to scout your opposition. New Zealand staff is here just to our right, though I think they maybe are getting ready to go, but taking notes and getting their game plans in place. It's all about finding tendencies and opportunities.
Rise ball just up, and White will draw a walk to reach base for the first time today.
Talk about the speed of Matthew Waugh. Nick White has got more in top gear. Get around the bases in a hurry here with Ty Sebastian at the plate as we get to the meat and potatoes on the order.
Sebastian single came around to score on the Quentin Bruce home run back in the third. He is 1 for 2. The wind is picking up a little bit. You can see it on the jersey of Onodera on the mound. And White was gone on the first pitch. He's got to head back, though, as this is popped sky high to Yasumi at second base. And Sebastian is retired.
Just got under it. And you can see White had put on the brakes in a hurry, realizing he had to get back to first base. Again, Canada just missing squaring up these balls here tonight. But here's a guy that got one just an inning ago, rather 2 ago.
Quentin Bruce has provided all the offense today for Canada, a 3-run home run back in the third inning. And if you got an extra point for distance, it would have been a 4-run home run. Knocked down at third, and this is going to be an infield single for Quentin Bruce. We'll wait for the official scoring, but an absolute rocket down to third. And Bruce reaches for the third time in 3 plate appearances.
Now batting, catcher number 7, Blake Hunter.
No chance there for the third baseman, as that one got on him in a hurry. Just pushed it to that far side. Looks as though they're going to agree with you, Chris, on a base hit.
Yeah, error would be a tough one to give on that. So Bruce officially 2 for 2. And that'll bring up Blake Hunter. Shows bunts and takes strike 1. And I had to double check. There are still 2 outs, but they're looking to get Nick White on the move from second base, Kyle.
Yeah, when you got that speed out there, drop that ball down. Interesting to see the thought process here from Canada.
Well, I think they're trying to see if Masaki and Okawa were paying attention.
Show their
Maybe
hand.
Steal third base on them. Rise ball up and out of the zone. Hunter 0 for 2 strikeout and popped up to short. And Onodera will call time.
So one thing we're not playing with here this week, Chris, is the time clock. The 20-second pitch clock that we will have up in Prince Albert. So that would be something they'd have to be aware of as that got burned down, because after 5 you actually can't call time. And the other really cool thing we get to do next week, there's going to be video review available to the teams in a challenge system.
Hunter swings through for a strike. Yeah, last year at the group stage in Hermosillo, Mexico, I remember a Dominican player, I can't remember who, popped up from a close play and was doing the universal sign to check for the replay. But it wasn't instituted in the group stage, but we will have replay review challenges for the tournament in Prince Albert.
They used it in Italy at the senior women's last year in the Women's World Cup with success. So it's being implemented here this year. So our crew who do the broadcasting of the WBSC, they'll have extra busy parts to relay that replay system.
Extra pressure. Hunter checks swing, and everyone started walking off from Japan. They'll check down at first. He did not go, says Terry Richter. And I don't think he did either. I'll bring the count full. Runners will be on the move. 3-2 popped up into shallow left field. Coming on to make the catch, battling the wind, was Koki Sato. But the threat is retired. Hunter tried to hang back on that one, Kyle, but just couldn't hold up long enough.
Yeah, got the hands down and bat to it on that inside pitch, but couldn't get any mustard behind it. We go to the bottom of the fifth. It's 3-0. Canada. McCullough back out to the pitcher's mound.
Four, five, six hitters due up for Japan here in the bottom of the fifth. Devin McCullough back out to work the fifth inning. And some activity in the Canadian bullpen as Masaki swings over. Justin Schofield is heading out to get loose. I'm not joking when I say this. I just saw Shane Boland throwing, but and Shane can't pitch. Oh, knocked down by Avery at third. Gets up, makes the play. Great scoop by Walsh. Oh, my.
That's called using your body and doing anything you can for your pitcher. Keep that ball there, but a nice play. Avery, strong throw. We've seen it from outfield. We've seen it from catcher. And there he does it from his knees. Nice scoop there by Walsh as well. Front end, back end play from Team Canada defense.
I know we're going to see a lot of good defense this week. Right now, that's the leader in the clubhouse. So Toriyama, chopper up the middle, Schellenberg across, and quickly 2 down here in the bottom of the fifth.
Game wearing on and starting to use the defense a little bit. Sitting at 10 strikeouts here tonight is Devin McCullough. A nice re-debut back with the national team.
So with 2 down, Kotaro Yasumi will step up for his second at-bat of the game. And yes, to finish the thought I had before the wild play on the Avery ground ball. Justin Schofield's getting loose for Canada. Shane Boland was down there. And if you know Shane, he's just probably bored over on the bench. He's not used to being over there. He's got to be down there chatting with people and, you know, maybe angling for a chance to get out and throw a couple on the mound.
Ty Sebastian down there as well with ball in hand. And I think I saw a catcher's glove on Shane's hand, so maybe he's going to do a little catching if needed.
Popped up. And Hunter will turn around and watch it sail back towards the parking lot.
But you're absolutely right. He would be a guy that just, if you're a coach for Team Canada and Shane's sitting there, you got to find something for him to do for sure. He'd be going stir crazy. He'd come in here and talk to us before the game, and you could tell how amped up he was for the start of the event.
Strike 3 called. And Devin McCullough, unbelievable and perfect through 5. We'll head to the 6th. Walsh, Avery, and Major due up for the Canadians. So Kim Mitchell's might as well go for a soda comes on here after the sponsor announcement for the Bear Tent, and that's what I call absolute perfect production coming from the in-house. And now I'm thirsty.
Yeah, the only way it gets better is if somebody shows up with a soda for us now.
We need Stone Cold cracking the beers. Colin Walsh will lead things off. I know we've got some folks watching in Newfoundland tonight. Speaking of cracking beers. Walsh 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And this will be the first time he faces Shota Onodera. And he takes a ball inside. Nearly took a bite out of his ankle. I'm just checking in on the chat on the stream, Kyle, on Softball Premiere. And a lot of people commenting on the changeup from McCullough. You know, if you've not seen it in person, we've got such great camera angles here. You can get a real feel for it, and just the reaction of the batters and what it does to them, you know.
You know, you sit here and you've watched Devin pitch for so many years, right? Like, you sometimes forget about how good it is, and then you get this angle where we're sitting, and if you want to know where we're sitting, I just waved at you at home.
Colin Walsh with a single that's chopped up and over the head of Kato Masaki at third. And the leadoff batter is on once again for Canada.
We're right behind home plate, I'm looking over what would be my left shoulder of home plate, looking out towards the diamond. So I'm looking over the left shoulder of the home plate umpire. Chris is looking over the right shoulder. I mean, watching the spins come in on these pitches has been really neat to sit here after watching these guys for so many years.
Yeah, if you look through the chain link, you can see Kyle. You can't see me on the ground to third. Masaki for 1. On to first for the double play. 5-4-3. Masaki to Yasumi to Toriyama. And just like that, 2 down.
But it's 5-4 and a long throw and a reach around, and then come back down with it, take one step, gather, and throw it. It's a routine double play, but all but routine on the exchange between the third baseman and the second baseman.
So all credit to Kotaro Yasumi to flag down that throw and then make a throw of his own, chest high to Toriyama. And with 2 away, it'll be Max Major, who is 0 for 2 tonight.
For Canada, a chance to see Onodera here on the mound is a good feather in the cap as they get ready for next week. Seeing him throw in person rather than on video. Of course, they weren't down in Oklahoma City for the qualifier Group C. Chris Abbott was, though, in Oklahoma City.
Devon Park, if you've not been there, it's where they host the College World Series for the NCAA. It's also where they'll be playing the Olympics in 2028, right?
Yep.
For the LA Olympics, but they're playing the softball in Oklahoma City, which, by the way, not that close to LA.
USA men's majors.
That's right.
USA
next week,
men's
2 weeks.
championships are down in Oklahoma City the week after we conclude in Prince Albert.
And Kyle, we've been to some ball fields. And like this one we're sitting in right now, which is just the history here, you can almost feel it. But there is nothing like that complex in Oklahoma City. Not that I've experienced, anyhow. I'm sure there's comparable, but man, oh man.
Even listening to people talk about it, there's not really.
Foul tip. Major knocks the mask sideways of Kataoka. I mean, if you're holding the Olympics there, you know. Because there's plenty of nice parks around LA.
There is, but it's strictly a numbers thing. They want to get as many people into that park for the Olympics, and the exposure that you're going to get with 10, 12,000 people there. Next to, if you go to UCLA's campus, you get 1,500.
Right.
So it's the softball and there's another sport actually happening in the Oklahoma region as well. Maybe kayaking or something along that line as well, off-site. So it's not just softball away from LA, but others as well.
Major's going to send this one out over second base, and how about it? A single for Max Major in his debut.
Get that kid the softball. He's had 3 great at-bats, and that one he just fought off and fought it into center field for a base hit. He's 0 for 2, but 2 great at-bats, as I've talked about. A line shot to the shortstop, a long fly to center field, and now he just pops that one out, fighting it off and out into center field.
So with 2 down, Kevin Schellenberg will step in. He'll swing through strike 1. Now we hear all about the speed of Max Major as well. I don't know if it's the right time to start the runner, but maybe they will. Schellenberg swings through another rise ball, now down 0-2. Try again. Major's off on the pitch. Major is out at second. Not sure that Max got the jump that he wanted.
Nice pickup there by Okawa at short to get that tag down. That could be a challenge next week at the World Cup.
Great arm behind the plate for Karaoka. But Japan needs to do something at the plate. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 7-8-9 due up for Japan. We've got a pitching change for Canada after 5 perfect innings and 11 strikeouts. Devin McCullough will give way to another veteran of the Canadian national team, and Justin Schofield. Weren't we just talking about Nova Scotia?
We were, and here is from Grand Prairie, Nova Scotia, Justin Schofield. A guy that has reinvented himself and found himself thrust into the middle, was a team captain last year during the qualifying round. But I like the pitching change. You and I talked about it off air. I like the pitching change and leaving Devin in a great spot after 5 perfect innings, untouched, unscathed. You know, they started to get a hold of the ball a little bit, and you could see Devin struggling a little bit with command as that last inning wore on, so I like it. And, you know, you said even give him tomorrow off. You're not going to come back with him, right? And then get a couple innings on Saturday and get ready for next week. But an outing for Devin that, man, you got to be proud of him for that work.
Well, it just, you know, it makes other teams, I think, stop and pay a little more attention to Canada, who've got now 4 world-class throwers with experience at this level on the mound. The guy with the least experience at WBSC events would be Ty Sebastian, but domestically he has been arguably the best pitcher in the Canadian Nationals over the last number of years, not to mention what he's done for his club team as well. So Canada may not have the best pitcher. As this is lifted high and deep and gone. Koki Sato will take the words and smack them out of my mouth with a leadoff home run here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, a great piece of hitting there by Sato as he got through it and drove it out to left field, got the bat head around. And here you see, watching in from center, belt high, middle cut. And we talked about it today, Chris. The misses by Diaz and Schofield this year on the club scene, they've gone the other way in a big hurry. That one, a prime example.
So that'll bring up the center fielder, Sei Kuroiwa. And now we've got a ball game, Kyle. 3-1 here in the 6th.
Never say never. Now you're just a bloop and a blast or manufacture runs. You got 2 more cracks at it here in the bottom of the 6th for Japan.
Schofield takes a little off that drop ball, gets a swing and a miss from Kuroiwa, now 0-2. Hard drop ball. This one's off the plate. And stay with us after this game. As soon as they can get the diamond back in order, we'll have USA versus New Zealand. And for my money, the United States, a team to be reckoned with this week in Saskatchewan, as Schofield will get Kuroiwa swinging. Everyone will talk about Marco Diaz on the mound for the USA, Kyle, but their bats, they put on a display last year in the group stage.
Yeah, you know, over the years, they've always had defense, always had hitters. It's always been pitching that is always, the Achilles heel for U.S., and they finally have it right. Like you talk about top to bottom, putting everything together. That USA team coming in, probably one of the more complete collection of players as we prepare for next week. And another one of those heavy betting favorites as we get into Prince Albert, and you talk about teams that will be there Sunday. If USA isn't in the finals, for my money, I think it's a disappointing campaign in terms of what they're looking at and where they're positioned coming off of 22 and the build-up leading into this 25 cycle.
Jeez, no pressure. You need to be in the final to make it not a disappointment. Okawa off the end of the bat. He'll stay alive. You know, there's a lot of teams looking for a little bit of redemption, right? New Zealand once,
for sure.
Once you could pencil them into the championship game at one point for a long time.
Yep.
Right? Is this the year that they get back to the top of the mountain?
You know, they have all the pieces. The big question is pitching, right? How do you work your way through the week? And we'll talk about that in our next game, but that's one of those things, right, is how do you manage the staff to get you through to Sunday?
Okawa goes down looking. 2 consecutive strikeouts for Justin Schofield after giving up the leadoff home run. And we're back to the top of the order of Tei Hamamoto. Hamamoto is 0 for 2. He grounded out to first and struck out. The infield shadows now. You can see Schofield will start in the sun. And when he lets go of the ball, he'll be in the shadows.
Even add a little bit more of a challenge, right?
Swing and a miss as Hamamoto falls a little bit out of the box on that one. Nobody on, 2 down. Count is 1-2 on Tei Hamamoto. And he'll go down swinging, so Schofield will clean up the mess of the leadoff home run, strike out the next 3 batters. And after 6 complete here in Saskatoon, Canada 3, Japan 1.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Kevin Schellenberg to lead things off here in the 7th. So interestingly, neither team has made any changes aside from on the mound. And Kyle, I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought coming in that you'd see guys coming in and out of the lineup all the time. I was expecting our scorebooks to look like hieroglyphics or something,
Yeah,
you know?
I thought the same, right? And we kind of talked about it off the top, is seeing guys playing in different positions, right? Coming in, getting a hit, couple at bats, having another guy come in and do it. But you know what? Get guys your swings. Look at tomorrow. Maybe that's how they're going, right? Is you get your one game, and then on Saturday we go with who's kind of hot and what doing what. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm surprised we haven't seen more substitutions for sure.
There is some action in the bullpen for Japan. Fuga Nagai, who pitched sparingly in Oklahoma City, is getting loose. Call strike on the outside to put Schellenberg in a hole 1 and 2. High and tight from Onodera.
Lineups are in for the next game, Chris, and it'll be Ben Watts gets the start for New Zealand. Marco Diaz, the start for USA.
Well, USA not messing around. Looks like they're going with the A lineup in that one. Schellenberg goes down swinging. Onodera in his 3rd inning here. That's the first strikeout. So back to the top of the order for Matthew Waugh, who was the first batter to face Shota Onodera back in the 5th inning. Grounded out to short on a real nice play by Ryuji Okala. First pitch swinging, Waugh will foul it back. And one thing I've noticed, Kyle, is that we're starting to see the stands fill up a little bit here as we get into the evening.
Yeah, a little bit more after work on a Thursday, right? 6 o'clock start time. It's tough to get here for first pitch. Traffic was a little bit much getting across the city for us coming down Circle Drive.
Waugh, ground ball to the right side. It's picked up and not getting back to the bag in time. Toriyama, he dropped the ball as well. Toriyama made the move to get there. Yasumi took it on a short hop, and Waugh beat them to the bag.
Nice play to get to it, but Toriyama too far off, and he's in a foot race with one of the quicker guys in the game. I would think goes as a base hit.
I believe so.
So say the scorekeepers. I'd agree. Yeah, base hit. You're good.
Oh, they're checking with us. That's dangerous. So that'll make Matthew Waugh 3 for 4 here tonight. Ho-hum, just another day at the office.
I appreciate the confidence in our scorekeepers to lean on us for that one.
I used to work with a producer back when I lived in Halifax, and we'd go off air and he'd say, "We fooled him again."
It's all smoke and mirrors here, pal.
White shows bunts and takes low.
Canada showing here with Nick White, at least they are willing to play small ball at the top of the order. Man, you'd love to teach this kid how to slap hit. Just drive that ball on the ground. A high hopper, you're not getting him.
Waugh was off on the pitch. White had the green light, and it's fouled away. 8 hits for the Canadians so far in this one to the 1 hit for Japan. All the runs for Canada coming back in the 3rd inning on a Quentin Bruce 3-run deep home run to right center field.
The flight on that ball was a lot smoother than our flights in to Saskatoon as the balls come onto the diamond.
Well, I'm not sure if somebody got their dollar for that one. I don't think that's the right protocol. Yeah, for some reason the flight path Toronto to Saskatoon the last couple of days was interesting.
Well, I was about to, they kept coming on and saying we're about to go through some turbulence, put your seatbelts on. And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a guy that once I strap in, I rarely get up out of my seat. And I just felt like saying, you might as well just say leave your seatbelts on at this point. It was about 4 or 5 of those announcements on the 3-hour flight, 4-hour flight over. But made it here, down on the ground, and who's the first one you see but smiling Chris Abbott at the arrival gate.
Oh, somebody got to come pick you up, but that's going to get away from Kataoka, and Waugh will scamper down to second base and pass ball.
Onodaro's looked pretty steady on the mound. Has really kind of kept it clean more so than his counterpart. And has been a lot more in his spots than Aikita.
So White now with a chance to drive in a run. He'll watch ball 3 just outside.
Trying to stretch that zone. They worked there diligently earlier here in the ball game.
On the ground to second, Yasumi has to back up and actually makes a really nice play on that ball. And the ground out will move Waugh over to third. Normally when you see an infielder start to track back, Kyle, it could be trouble.
Yeah, that's normally when bad things happen, but a good generous hop allowed him to take that step back, play it belt high and on to first. But you're right, how many times have we seen you take that extra step backwards, it eats you up alive. But a generous hop, long hop, and over to first.
Infield's playing very true here tonight, and that's all you can ask for as a player. Ty Sebastian now with 2 down and an insurance run on third in the form of Matthew Waugh. Sebastian takes a low rise ball in the zone, maybe one he would have liked to turn on. Fouled straight back. And based on his reaction, Sebastian, his eyes might have lit up just a little bit.
A couple times tonight, Ty's been just a late behind it that you could tell by the reaction he just missed or would like that pitch back.
But the count's 0-2. That's low. And even though it's pre-tournament, you can feel the intensity ratcheting up here as we're into the top of the 7th. Rise ball gets Sebastian chasing, and Shota Onodera will retire the side. So Onodera had traffic in every inning, but he does not allow a run. Now we go to the bottom of the 7th. Good spot in the order if you're Japan. 2, 3, 4 to face Justin Schofield, who will look to close this one out. So, Kyle, the hits are 8-1, the score's 3-1, but you come to the spot in the Japanese order that can do the most damage. Morita, Kataoka, and Masaki with Toriyama due up 4th, and this game is a long way from over.
For sure, this is where you want to be, right? Good lineup management to leave yourself the best chance to make some noise here in the bottom of the 7th as you try and climb your way back. I think what you want if you're Japan is good at bats, put the ball in play, and get a couple base runners on. Even if you can't score runs, I mean, obviously you want to score some runs, but even just having some momentum coming out of this one as you look towards tomorrow, have a better inning, have some offense on the bases.
So bottom of the 7th, Japan is the home team, even though we're playing in Canada. And Morita started to swing, dropped his bat. They check down at third, say yes, he did. And it's 1-2.
Second time we've seen a Japanese hitter swing and drop the bat out of desperation.
Not much argument about that once you look at the replay. And Morita chases upstairs again. And that sharp lifter from Justin Schofield will get him the first out. And Schofield struck out the last 4 batters he's faced after giving up a home run to Koki Sato to lead off the 6th.
Well, I mean, you look at Devin McCullough. He had a ground ball to start, then reeled off, 10 strikeouts in a row, 9 strikeouts in a row. Justin's done the same after giving up the home run, now just knocking off strikeouts.
And Kataoka, who has 2 strikeouts on his ledger, a half-hearted swing there, and you could see by the look on his face, Kyle, that he is, as they say, in the rats up there.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of hitters that are battling some inner demons right now at the plate.
Kataoka takes there, looks back, and yeah, nothing about him says confidence right now. But again, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, doesn't matter. This game doesn't mean anything. get right. Get right when you can get right here.
Yeah, these are all about reps as you get prepared for Tuesday in Prince Albert.
Makes good contact there, but fouls it way back into the parking lot. One and two, the count on Kataoka. That one gets away from Schofield, and Hunter with some nice hands. Hard hit on the ground, and Kataoka will fight off the Demons. He's going to look at second. Rounded that hard. And Quentin Bruce will steer him back to the bag, and now the tying run is at the plate.
Well, a nice piece of hitting there. Takes that, drives it the other way. Another base knock.
So Kaito Masaki. First pitch called strike at the knees. Masaki didn't necessarily like that.
How wild this game turns. You're a swing away from tying it and turning this game on its head.
And the power hitting Kazuya Toriyama on deck. Off the plate, Avery charging, has one play, it's to first, and there's two away. Kataoka moves up to second.
Well, you talk about just that one play, and I like that play, right? Take your outs. You're counting outs right now. Ground ball, got to get one, and you're going to first with it. Good solid throw across the diamond. Nice play by Brian Avery, sure-handed. The runner at second really doesn't mean anything. It's the guy at the plate that's going to do the damage to you.
But the thing with Toriyama is he can score both he and the runner at second with one swing.
And as much as this game has really swung the way of Canada and been in full control, I like this spot for Justin to feel the pressure of closing the game, because really, we've talked about it, that's sort of where you see Schofield fitting into this rotation, is the end of the line guy, right? It's going to rest with him in the circle. So I think this is a great opportunity for Justin to experience that pressure of building and coming in to close a game.
Big rip from Toriyama. He'll come up empty, 1-1. And Toriyama was looking to tie the game there. No ifs, ands, or buts. Wasn't looking for a bloop single. Toriyama chases up, and there's two strikes. Toriyama having some good hacks, but Schofield's bested him on the last two pitches. Schofield gets a called strike three. Toriyama goes down looking to end this ball game.
Well, fitting that it ends on a strikeout, as it's been by the boatload tonight for Team Canada pitching. Pinpoint accuracy by Justin Schofield to come in, close the door after a masterful performance by Devin McCullough. For Canada, it's Quentin Bruce in the 3-run shot. And from the pitching circle, it's perfection by McCullough.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if, the situation's different if you leave McCullough out there and let him go. I mean, this game ultimately doesn't mean a whole lot, but it sure means a lot to Devin McCullough and the confidence that this Canadian pitching staff has in him. We have heard that he's been outstanding throughout the year, and everybody expected this. But to see it was an absolute pleasure from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, and we talked about it during the broadcast, Chris, like the swings and misses, the whiff rate, as you called it, I mean, it was 100%, right? Swing and miss, and we're talking like inches, not just centimeters, but inches of what, the depth at the miss, that elevation of the rise ball, the change up nowhere near it, and then you see Schofield come on and do the same, but it's a masterful performance by McCullen. It really helps Devon as he finds his way back into the rotation of Team Canada. For Japan, it's an interesting go-round because as much as McCullough was in action, they really struggled finding their way throughout the early part of the game, and they were off balance to start, and it really carried through.
We'll defer here to our public address announcer for our player of the game presentations. Japan didn't get the message that they needed to stay, so we'll get them back out here. Koki Sato named player of the game for Japan, a home run. But Kyle, also, we talked about his play in left field. He saved a run out there as well.
Yeah, he played left field great. Had a good hard throw that cut Matt Waugh down over at third to keep him there. And then, of course, a home run to boot.
And no surprise, I don't think Devon McCullough named player of the game for Canada. Perfect through 5, 11 strikeouts. And what more can we say about his performance this evening?
Yeah, we've talked about it already, but McCullough, a good four-way back into the Team Canada national team.
And in good team ribbing, even though he was outstanding, his teammates gave him heck about it. Well, that's it for this one. On behalf of Kyle Smith, I'm Chris Abbott. Don't go anywhere. As soon as they turn the field over, we've got the nightcap, New Zealand and the United States here from Bob Van Am Stadium in Saskatoon.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.